We will start the recording. Okay, I would like to welcome you all. And I think what we are going to do is, because Nada is not here, so Lily is going to take over the starting of the meeting.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to our second session. I'm so happy to see you again, and happy also to have all our guests and speakers and the new prospective member. Following our last session, I'm happy to give you an update on some of our projects that were announced last time. First, we have an update on the Christmas market. We're in progress. The word is out in all Hurgada. People are interested in participating in the Christmas market. We have several options. However, we still didn't choose any option and the final option, and we didn't capture all the details. However, we will keep you updated. Second news, we have the International Day for Special Needs on the 3rd of December. Also, we have an interesting event that we will do, but we still don't have everything, all the aspect of the project. We don't. We prefer not to share, bits and pieces. So we will give you the full picture, hopefully next week. As for the third update, we are working on the beach cleaning day. If you remember, it was mentioned last time. Most probably it's going to happen end of November. It will be with the cooperation with our club and the Continental Hotel Hurgada, and also we will give you more details in due time. A small update on the sessions. We are trying to optimize the time that we have till before the Christmas break. So we will try as much as we can to have all the sessions or most of the sessions done before the Christmas break. We will follow depends on the speakers schedules and the members, so it might be on Friday or Sunday. Also, this we will finalize it and communicate it with the members before any session throughout the weeks or the coming weeks. Thank you so much. Back to you, Naveen.
Thank you very much, and I am really proud with the club and all the activities that are taking place. And I'm really proud that the first ever project was a Rotary Foundation project that was implemented.
Yes.
It was actually the end polio sign and the end polio video, and diving into the sea with the family of Sylvie, and having also the boat with diving into and having all of them wearing end polio and sharing it with everyone. And actually, I would like to thank Ahmed Saada for choosing the coordinator or the Polio Plus chair, Nancy. I think she was doing a lot of work in this coordination. So that was a good thing, that while you are still actually in the process, that was the first ever project that you did. And Nada was also working very hard on getting all the stickers. And I know that Nancy sent you a lot of materials that has to do with what is Rotary and all this, so that you were able to talk about. So it was a good PI and a good introduction to the new members about polio. Now, this is the whole, polio is one aspect. And definitely this is a good introduction. we have today one of the two eminent and the best speakers that can talk about the Rotary Foundation. We have Trustee Geeta, Manek, and we have past District Governor Ahmed Saada. And I don't want to be prejudiced, but both of them are very, very, very close to my heart, as I said before. And with PDG Ahmed Saada, we had a wonderful week during his year as a district governor regarding the Rotary Foundation, and we did a lot of work. And him chairing the Rotary Foundation as well is making a difference. And we have our trustee, Geeta Manek. She is also, I mean, a lot of her, she is the one who walks the talk of the Rotary Foundation. And as I said, I'm not going to say the official introductions. I think it's better that we, each one of our speakers is going to introduce herself and himself by saying what they are, their role in Rotary, who they are regarding Rotary and their role, how they reached it. And I think this is how it is going to be much better than just saying the titles. The titles, there is a lot behind each title. So maybe the introductions will lead also to part of what we are going to talk about. So we are going to start with Trustee Geeta Manek.
Thank you. Thank you, Navin, for inviting me to the launch of this new club or the build-up towards the new Rotary Club of Red Sea Hurgada. Really happy to be with you all today. My name is Geeta Manek, and I live in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. At the moment, I am in the US. And I joined my Rotary Club about 22 years ago. At that time, I did not know what Rotary was. My husband used to drop everything at his office and he used to run to his Rotary meeting. And his club was being chartered, just like yours is. And he was very enthusiastic. He wanted to be there on time and wanted to do all the right things. And I thought that Rotary is a woman because he was just dropping everything and running. And I thought, oh, wow, you know, how can he do this? Anyway, after a lot of coercing, I said to him, I want to come with you. And he said, well, this is a new club. You won't get it. Anyway, after a while, I was invited and I've never looked back. I'm telling you this because I did not know what Rotary was. And maybe most of you do know what Rotary is, and one or two may not know what Rotary was before you heard about it. So I come from a place where I had no clue what Rotary was, but when I went to the first meeting and then I went to the second meeting, I got really charged. I wanted to be part of this because I knew that by working with a group of people, I could make a bigger difference than by doing whatever I was doing alone. I could feed one child, I could pay school fees for another child, I could maybe bring water to one family, but working with Rotary, I realized that I could live my passion, that I could do whatever I wanted to for a community because more hands make the work lighter. So I served in every possible capacity in the club. I never said no to any position because I have a thirst for knowledge and understanding and learning. So I went for everything. So from then I became the governor. After becoming the president, a few years later, I became the governor. My husband was governor in 2007-8. And I became governor of my multi-country district. It was 6 countries, 190 clubs, and I visited all of them as a governor, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Eritrea. And then after governorship, I was invited to join several committees at the international level. But this happened because I was always curious and I was interested and I wanted to know more. And I kind of took a lot of time to serve and to make a difference, which I really get a lot of thrills out of, because I can see the difference I make on a daily basis. And yeah, Rotary promoted me probably because of my gender, probably because I was the only woman leader in those days. Out of my district, I was the first woman district governor. And I guess that's where they must have seen me make a lot of noise, or wearing pink amongst the black and the blues that the men were wearing. I don't know how I am where I am, but having served on the Committee for Basic Education and Literacy as Major Gift Initiative, then I worked on Joint Committee for Partnerships, and then I was chair of, I can't even remember which committee, but anyway, Health, Major Gift Initiative for Health. And then I was invited, you don't get elected, you get invited to be a trustee. And this is the pinnacle of my Rotary career, and I'm truly, truly humbled to be where I am. Thank you, Navin, for that opportunity to introduce myself. I hope I've not taken too much time. Over back to you.
Great, thank you. And I think now you will start talking to us about the Rotary Foundation from the whole perspective. Yes.
Thank you. So I belong to the Rotary Club of Muthaiga. We have 86 members. About 60 of them are active, and 20 are cruising along but enjoying Rotary and the fellowship. Thank you, Navin, for inviting me to the newest, perhaps the baby club. And I get a lot of joy out of talking and interacting with new Rotarians, because I know that if they're interested, they will absorb all the tidbits that I give you. I don't want to make a formal presentation, but just like a family sitting in your lounge, I want to tell you about the Rotary Foundation. In very, very simple terms, Rotary Foundation started off because they wanted to do, there was a group of people who wanted to do good in the world. And that has remained the motto for doing good in the world till today. It was started in 1917 by Arch Klump. He was the president of Rotary International at that time in 1917. They wanted to do good. They had a convention in 1917, I believe, in Atlanta, Georgia. And there was a little surplus, and the Rotary Club of Kansas City contributed some money, and totaling to $26.50, they said that they must do good in the world, and let's create a fund where we can grow the Rotary Foundation. It was called something else then, but it was named as the Rotary Foundation in 1928. In 1930, the first grant was awarded. Now I'm telling you bits and pieces because it might capture your attention. And at that time, they donated the first $500 to the International Crippled Society, a terminology that's no longer used. We use things like children with special needs or people with special needs. And at that time, they would call it the International Crippled Society. The mission of the Rotary Foundation basically is to enable Rotarians to live their passion, to do good in the world. And that they do through provision of provision of safe, clean water. And these are the 6 or 7 areas of focus. I say 6 areas because there were 6 up to just last year. And this year, 2021, I'm lost. But yeah, this year we added 1 extra focus area, and that is environment. Excuse me, I have to go for 1 second, if you don't mind. Navin?
No problem, no problem. No. I think Ahmed can chip, PDG Ahmed Saada maybe you can, one of the things you can tell us is about the, yes.
I beg
Okay,
I beg
Geeta,
your pardon.
that's good. No
Okay.
problem at all.
So as I said, I was asked to talk about the Rotary Foundation, and I told you a little bit about how we started. The Rotary Foundation is an entity that works along with Rotary International, where we all members belong to Rotary International. And in order for us to do good in the world, we have another entity called the Rotary Foundation that funds and finances all the passions that Rotarians have for their community. So if you find that you want to do the cleanup of Red Sea, for example, you alone may do a little bit. You will do it for half a day, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. But if you want to make a big impact and you want to make it sustainable, you would get your friends together, you would get your group together, you would get your club together, maybe you get all the clubs in your district together to have this one big activity, which will be long lasting in terms of the outcomes you look for. The outcome would be end result, no pollution in the sea, no plastic in the sea, and the fish are thriving. And so if that is your end game, you want to have funding to help you. The Rotarians of District 2451 would apply for a grant to the Rotary Foundation. And there is a formula. I'm sure that PDG Ahmed will talk about the formula and tell you, if you collect $100, how does your $100 get multiplied to $500 or $600 and so on. I don't want to bore you with too many numbers, but numbers are again very important. When you start a fund with $26.50, and today we have a goal of reaching 2,250 million by 2025. And as a trustee, I'm privy to the tracking of that, and we are very close to that. We will reach 2025 by 2025. And the one thing I must tell you is that most of the funding comes from Rotarians. Every Rotarian wants to contribute. Like I said earlier, if you contribute $100 and you get the value of $600, why would you not? Which bank gives you that sort of a, opportunity? So the Rotary Foundation is a vehicle through which you can have a multiplier effect and do good in the world. So there are many, many programs at the Rotary Foundation, but the ones that you would be keen on as a newcomer, you might want to know that, we want to, Rotarians really want to do work in the area of provision of clean, safe water. They want to work in the area of basic education and literacy. They want to work in the area of empowering women or empowering communities. They want to build peace. They want to do, provision and elevating their community. And how would you do that? You would do that as Rotarians. You get qualified. There are certain procedures that Rotary Foundation requires you to go through, which you'll be carried along and you'll be helped to understand in depth about what you need to do. But in order for you, for example, to do any project, you would apply for a grant. There are two types of grants. One is a district grant and one's a global grant. And then there is the programs of scale, and those are more complicated and for an advanced club, but you will come to it gradually. Rotary Foundation is very keen on the new generation, helping young people through our Rotaract who will become our equals in doing grants from early next year. And I always feel that it is our foundation. It is not the Rotary Foundation for somebody out in America or anywhere else. Because it's a global organization, we can all access our funding in an equitable way. We have to meet certain criteria, but which all of us can and are able to do in most cases. It's much easier for a new club than it is for an old club, because sometimes they have a history, they've not reported on time, they've not ticked all the boxes, but for a new club, it's fairly easier. But I want to congratulate you that even before you start your Rotary Club, before you even receive your charter, you've done an exceptional activity, in October for bringing polio to the forefront of all your activities, because polio is our global project. We have to date saved over, I think, 19 million children from ever acquiring polio by just simply giving them 2 drops of the polio vaccine, and 2 drops of polio vaccine cost less than $1. Friends, by contributing $1, if you can save a child from the braces and all the things that you require if you have a disability, isn't $1 worth contributing rather than a lifetime in crutches and braces? So this is what the Rotary Foundation does. It is up to us Rotarians to work with the Rotary Foundation to ensure that we get the best value for money, so that we can go out in the community and do the good work that you already want to do. Another very interesting program that we have is peace scholarships. This is usually open to non-Rotarians. There are so far, we have educated up to 1,500 young people who have all got scholarships through the Rotary Foundation, and they're all working in governments at high level, in United Nations, WHO, and such organizations. Our first scholar was a Japanese person of an international scholar in 1936. Her name was Sadako Ogata, and she was an ambassadorial scholar. She then got her first job in the United Nations, and when she went back to Rotary Club of Osaka, she talked about how Rotary was, and that has still lived on up to today. We educate and support these young people to educate themselves, and then they come back and they elevate our peace processes. And we can talk about provision of water or education, health, everything, but the real peace is that all comes only if you have peace. So we have a lot of emphasis on peace. We have 8 universities that host our Rotary Peace programs, and there's one in the pipeline. Somebody contributed, Fran and Walter Otto contributed $15 million just last year, and they want to fund a peace center in North Africa or Middle East. So it is coming in your region. One husband, wife, a couple left that much money, and their only condition is to have their photograph in the lobby. This peace center for $15 million is going to be in your region somewhere. And that is how serious Rotary is about peace. Another great thing you may want to know is that we have 1.2, 1.3 million Rotarians, and we are in 35,000 communities. All of us have different requirements, different passions, but Rotary Foundation allows you to do good in the world in whichever way you want to do good. The polio program, for example, started because the Rotary Club in Philippines they saw that there were 350,000 children around the world who were being affected by polio. And they took it on as a small project. Finally, it went on to greater scales, and we have adopted it as our international project. Our primary focus is to eradicate polio out of this world. And we've done incredibly well. Up to a month ago, up to 2 weeks ago, actually, we had only 2 cases in this year, from 350,000 to 2 cases this year. Only last week, because of some misfortune in Afghanistan. We couldn't reach, the vaccinators could not reach the public in the very deep areas of the country. We have discovered 2 more cases. So we now have 4 cases of polio around the world, but we've done incredibly well. And it's all because of Rotarians and their contribution. Rotary has different months are allocated to different focus areas. And this month is the Rotary Foundation month. And I guess that's why they asked me to speak to you in November about foundation. I wanted to talk about the foundation in very simplistic terms, but this is the month when we encourage all Rotarians to contribute something small. Everybody contributes something small that turns into really big things. And that money comes back to your district. 50% of that money comes back to your district in 3 years' time. And I'm sure that you will be told how that comes back to your district. Like I said, I don't want to make it complicated, but just to let you know that the foundation is your foundation. The foundation is for you to do good in your community through international friendships. Like we have this very diverse group, Sylvia from Belgium and Jacqueline from England, and I am from Kenya in America at the moment. And this is the internationality of Rotary, and we come together to do good in each other's communities and in our own. So I hope that I have managed to share little simple tidbits with you today. I encourage you to learn more about the Rotary Foundation. If you have any questions, we're always there to answer them for you. It's really very encouraging to know that you are so enthusiastic, and I encourage you to keep up that spirit, because what you put into Rotary, like I said earlier, you will get much, much more out. I am a good example of that. So let us together work together to make sure that those we lend a hand to, you know, when you lend a hand to somebody, you also raise yourself. And I feel that I have raised myself as I have worked with others. And the Rotary Foundation has great goals, but our biggest goal, even during the hardest challenges that we had last year and this year through COVID, we have done better. We have got the highest contributions, and also made sure that every grant that was applied for has been awarded so long as it met the criteria. So friends, thank you for giving me your time and your ears, and I hope that I've given you a little overview of what Rotary Foundation does.
Thank you very much for your inspiring talk and for your very inspiring introduction about yourself. And I'm going to leave the questions till the end, but I'm going to say my question. You know, I'm going to take I will abuse being here at this time and being the moderator, and maybe you can answer the question at the end. After polio, have the trustees thought about what's next? What would be the main task or the main disease or activity that Rotary would be interested in eliminating? Because I think this is something that would be interesting for all of us to know. And what are the other question is the projects at big scale. What type of projects would be, because here in Egypt there are several projects that might be of scale that we can do. And, you know, I'm always interested in doing something big, if possible. So if you can give us an examples of what would be, what would go through and get accepted by the foundation as one of the projects of scale. So this is one of the questions. And I would like to welcome Nada. She came in through Lily's, she's now at Lily's home and attending with us because of the problem she had with the technology. So welcome, Nada. Okay, I think you need to unmute, Nada, if you want to be heard.
She had everything was her, Lily, not me. Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry to be late.
Okay.
Hello, our PTG. Ahmed, Saada,
How are you?
Hi. Hello, our PTG Geeta too. Hi, Niveen. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay,
Thank
now
you.
we will go to our PDG after we had the beautiful and the very inspiring and informative introduction about Rotary and about the Rotary Foundation and how different it is, or that it's a separate entity from Rotary. We would like to welcome PDG Ahmed Saada, our district TRF chair. And please, your, as I said, your storytelling about yourself, how your Rotary moments, and then afterwards, the floor is yours for the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Naveen. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. Actually, it would be a very hard job for me to deliver a presentation after our eminent and highly knowledgeable speaker, Trustee Geeta. So please forgive me if I'm not up to the standard. My story started when I was a Rotary Act member. I joined Rotary Act in 1983. So that was like 38 years ago. I stayed in Rotary Act for about 10 years. And then I joined the Rotary Club of Alexandria in 1993, 28 years ago. But before joining Rotary, I was privileged to participate in a GSE program. And a GSE program, GSE stands for Group Study Exchange. And this was one of the very nice programs, and it was very popular here in our district, where a group of young people, 4 to 6 people, would travel to another country and would be hosted by another district for a period of about 4 to 6 weeks. And it was a group study exchange was all about cultural exchange, a little bit of vocational exchange, and a lot of fun. So I traveled to Ohio, District 6670 in Ohio, in the United States, and we were 5. We were a lot younger than now. And we had a Rotarian as a team leader. And the interesting story, at least for me, is that while I was there, while I was in Ohio on the group study exchange program, I met a professor of otology, ear surgery. And I spent one day with him, only one day, as a vocational part of the program. And the next thing I knew, after I came back home, I received a letter from this ear doctor, and he was offering me the chance of my life. He was offering me to travel and work with him at the Johns Hopkins University in the United States. And he was, at that time, he was moving from one place to another. And the following year, I was back in the United States working with this guy. I did my PhD thesis while I was there. I did a postdoctoral fellowship. I stayed there for 4.5 years. And I think that this part of my life is the highlight of my career. And I always say, if it wasn't for the Rotary Foundation, I wouldn't have gotten this chance to be at Johns Hopkins and to have this golden opportunity. So maybe this is my Rotary moment, Naveen. Then after I came back from the United States, I joined the same Rotary club that sponsored me as a GSE member, which is the Rotary Club of Alexandria. It's one of the oldest clubs in Egypt. It was chartered in 1930. I served as club president, then district governor in 2014-15. Currently, I'm serving as a member on the Leadership Development and Learning Committee. It's one of the Rotary International committees. I served as Rotary International training leader twice, last year and the year before. And currently, at the district level, I'm serving as a district Rotary Foundation chair. So this is my Rotary story.
That's a fantastic one. But there is a part that you missed, that the Rotary helped you with, which is very important part. I'm going to tell Rania about it, that you forgot to mention this.
You mean the part where I met Rania while we were Rotaract members?
Yes, that is very important. So, so Rotary actually helped you both at the personal life and the professional life.
Actually, I talked about it during the International Assembly, not the last one, but the one before. Yeah. So I wasn't prepared to talk about this part, Niveen.
No, I'm just saying that this is one of the things that Rotary also helped you with. It's the personal part. I mean. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, we were both Rotaract members at the same time, and this is how we got to know each other. And we got married in 1994, and we have one daughter, Saada. She's 25 years now, and that's it.
Yeah, that's great. So now I think we go to that's a very inspiring. We go now to the presentation bit. And one of the things that I would like to add that, okay, that's, yes.
Please go ahead, Nifida.
No, that's fine, no. No. We're looking forward, no. I was just saying that one of the things that I really would love that the Board of Trustees would look back at is the package grants, because they helped a lot. That's one of the things. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Can you see my slides on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. As you may know, every month of the year has a Rotary event or a Rotary topic or something related to Rotary that we put more emphasis on. The month of November, our current month, is the Rotary Foundation month. In order to talk about the Rotary Foundation, maybe we need to talk about many aspects. Our friend Trustee Geeta covered all aspects of the Rotary Foundation, the Rotary Peace Fellowships, the End Polio or the Eradication of Polio Initiative, the Polio Plus program, funding, the grants, and the 7 areas of focus. So what I will try to do is to give you some examples of what have been done in Egypt, in our district, District 2451, and what we are still doing. But maybe as an introduction, I just need to mention that each and every club, this is something universal, each and every Rotary club all over the globe should have 5 main committees, okay? Club administration, public relations, membership, service projects, and the Rotary Foundation. So the Rotary Foundation actually is 1 out of 5 main committees. And if we're doing some efforts and a lot of work and we donate money and things like that, so maybe what we do in the Rotary Foundation constitutes 20% of what we are doing in Rotary. Each and every one of the 5 main committees has many subcommittees underneath, okay? So today we're talking about the Rotary Foundation. So the Rotary Foundation Committee has a stewardship subcommittee, scholarships, VTT, or vocational training teams, district grants, global grants, polio, fundraising, and peace, or peace fellowships. Trustee Geeta mentioned the Rotary Foundation grants. We have 2 main types of grants, global grants and district grants. And we have another 2 grants, disaster response grants and program of scale grants. maybe I will focus on the first two, global grants and district grants, just a brief introduction so that I can give you some examples of service projects that have been implemented in Egypt through grants funding. Now, the district grants are meant for small-scale projects, short-term projects. It should be aligned with the foundation's mission. And we need to know that the district grants, actually, it is only one grant per district per year. But all clubs are eligible. Of course, there are some criteria for eligibility. The district and all clubs need to be qualified. But what I'm trying to say is that if a club is qualified, or if the district clubs are qualified, then as many clubs as they can, I mean, all clubs can apply for a district grant. But again, it is only one grant, and the district governor divides the money of the grant among the clubs that applied for the district grant according to the application of each club. Global grants are meant for large, long-term projects. It should be sustainable. It should be aligned with at least one of the areas of focus. And I'm going to show you what are the areas of focus that we are working on. One of the prerequisites of global grants is that we need to have an international partner. We cannot work alone. We cannot work, a local Rotary club cannot apply for a global grant alone without having an international partner. And maybe this is one of the challenges that many clubs face. I mean, how to find an international partner. Then there is the World Fund matching. The Rotary Foundation matches part of the money that will be spent on the project. Nowadays, the money that comes from the club is not matched. Until maybe last year or so, it used to be matched by the World Fund of the Rotary Foundation, but now it is not matched. The only part that is matched by the Rotary Foundation is the money coming from the DDF, or the District Designated Fund. Until last year, the matching, magnitude of matching was 100%. So if the district governor decides to put, for example, $1,000 in a project, then the Rotary Foundation would match it with another $1,000, 100% match, or 1-to-1. Starting from July of this year, this matching part, it decreased from 100% to 80%. So $1,000 would have an $800 match from the Rotary Foundation. The other important thing about the global grants is that the total budget of the project should not be less than $30,000. If we are working on a project that the budget, which the budget of this project is less than $30,000, so we may as well think of or consider applying for a district grant. This is just a table that differentiates between global grants and district grants. Now, these are the areas of focus. In order to apply for a grant, the service project that I'm applying for the grant to fund, it has to be aligned with at least one of these 7 areas of focus. Peace building and conflict resolution or conflict prevention, disease prevention and treatment, water sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, community economic development, and the last and most recent area of focus is the environment. Okay, and these are the official logos of the areas of focus. I know that there are so many logos that are spreading on different social media, but the ones on the screen, these are the official logos, and we can use one of them individually, or we can use all of them together, as you can see. And you can download them from the website of Rotary International. Now, I would like to share with you some examples of projects that were funded by global grants and implemented here in our district, District 2451 in Egypt. This project was implemented in one of the very remote villages in the southern part of Egypt. And this poor village was deprived of clean water. People living in this village used to ride horses or donkeys or whatever, or ride bicycles, or just walk tens and tens of miles or kilometers in order to get clean water in plastic containers like this picture, and then walk back again to their homes with their clean water. So this project was all about providing water pipes to this village. So this project, this is just a couple of pictures of the water pipes, a trench and a water pipe on the left side. And this project was implemented by 11 or 12 local Rotary clubs here in Egypt. And their international partner was from one of the Rotary clubs in Switzerland. And this picture shows some local Rotarians and Rotarians coming from Switzerland, our international partner, making a field visit or visiting the site of the project in this small village. This project provided 6,500 meters of water pipes. The number of beneficiaries were 182 houses in this village. Each house, I don't know, maybe there were like a minimum of 4 people living in each and every one of these houses. And the total budget of the project was $76,000. Maybe it's worth mentioning here that each one of the local Rotary clubs donated some money to this project. The most donation from local clubs was $1,000. Okay, that was the maximum donation that came from any of these Rotary clubs. Some of them paid $500 and maybe some of them paid less than that. But what I'm trying to say is this is the beauty of the global grants. This project was implemented with a budget of $76,000, whereas each one of these clubs paid a very modest amount of money. This is another example of another service project implemented by the Rotary Club of Giza Metropolitan, along with some other projects, and it aligns with the disease prevention and treatment area of focus. They've been working on these projects for years and years, and every year or every couple of years, they apply for a new grant to continue the project. And this project has to do with heart surgeries for children with congenital heart diseases, children who are born with congenital defects in their hearts. This project was implemented by probably 11 local Rotary clubs from Egypt and 1 international partner from Long Island in the United States. The total budget of this project exceeded $150,000 US. And these are some pictures from the patients with our dear friend, Dr. Hisham Shawqi, past president of Rotary Club of Giza Metropolitan. Actually, he was in Kenya last week working on the same project, but with a new global grant, and they're doing the same. But the difference is that this year they added a vocational training part. It's not only, they're not only there to do surgeries, but also to train medical doctors on the surgical procedures on children with heart diseases. This is a third example. This is just a straightforward project. This is a project that was implemented by Rotary Club of Heliopolis Sporting in Cairo. And they received a global grant where they purchased some medical equipment, and they donated this medical equipment to one of the local hospitals by the name of Ambatakla Hospital in Alexandria. This is another fourth example. Of course, last year, many projects were directed towards the COVID or projects related to COVID. So we had 2 or 3 global grants last year, and they were meant to purchase PPEs or personal protective equipment like face shields, boots, and surgical gowns and things like that. And some of these equipments were donated to the Cairo University Hospital, and some others were donated to the Alexandria University hospitals. This is a whole truck filled with PPEs for both hospitals. And I think there was another one that were PPEs that were donated to the Banha University hospitals as well. So I just tried to give you a couple of examples that align with different areas of focus, healthcare or disease prevention and treatment, water, sanitation and hygiene, and so on and so forth. Now, Trustee Geeta talked about the initiatives of eradicating polio. Maybe I just need to tell you a little bit about the disease. The polio virus, or the poliomyelitis, as this is the original name, poliomyelitis, it can affect any age. It can affect people at any age, but usually it affects children under the age of 5 years. And we are all aware that people affected with this virus, by this virus, they get paralysis in their lower limbs. But very few people are aware that this virus can affect the respiratory muscles or the nerves supplying the respiratory muscles. And people affected with the virus in their respiratory muscles or in the chests, they used to put them in something called an iron lung machine. I'm sorry about these pictures, but this is how it used to be in the 1950s and 1960s and maybe in the 1970s as well. We don't see this anymore. There are no iron lung machines anymore, thanks to Rotary and thanks to the Rotary Foundation and thanks to all our partners and donors. And maybe in all Rotary international events like the convention or the International Assembly and things like that, they always put one of those iron lung machines just as a reminder for all of us to think about how much this disease was devastating and be thankful of all the privileges that we had. This is a very old picture from one of the monuments in southern part of Egypt. It shows, probably, I'm not sure about this, but probably this is the first documented case of polio in the whole world. As you can see, there is one of the 2 limbs is very, very thin because of the muscle atrophy in the affected limb. We're not working alone. We have partners. We work with the WHO, CDC, UNICEF, the Gates Foundation, and some governments all over the world, like Australia and Canada and others. They keep donating money to the polio fund. Now, what I would like to share with you is some examples of how we observe polio days. You know, the 24th of October of every year is the polio day, and a lot of countries observe this day in different ways. So this picture is from London. This is the Big Ben in the House of Parliaments, and every year on the 24th of October, they put the End Polio Now sign on the House of Parliament. Again, this is the famous Opera House of Sydney, and every year, same time, same day, 24th of October, they put the End Polio Now sign with laser, I don't know, laser light or whatever. And next to it, they have Thanks Rotary. So End Polio Now, Thanks Rotary. We did this some years ago. Our past district governor, Yasser Asim, did a very nice event at the Mina House Hotel, and he had a laser show on the pyramids with End Polio Now. Now this is the favorite part of Naveen. We have a very dear friend, Rotarian friend from Australia by the name of Susan Ria. Susan Ria is a Rotarian and she's a polio survivor. And what Susan is doing, or what she's been doing for several years now, she is traveling all over the world with the purpose of doing awareness about polio and raising funds for the polio fund, or the Polio Plus. She started an NGO in Australia by the name of the World's Greatest Meal. And again, this is for the purpose of raising funds and raising money for polio. And Susan received the Order of Australia medal for what she's been doing in eradicating polio all over the world, not only in Australia, but in many countries. We got introduced to Susan by her close friend, Naveen. Naveen invited Susan Ria to visit Egypt in the year 2015. She was here in March 2015. And she spent about 1 week in Egypt between Cairo, Alexandria, and Luxor. And we had another guest from India at the same time, Gopi or Gopinath from India. And he is the one who is also touring the whole world with this flame, the End Polio Now flame. And as far as I remember, they kept traveling from one country to another with this End Polio Now flame until the flame ended up in at the Rotary International Convention. At that time, or during this year, it was held in Sao Paulo in Brazil. This picture was taken from Luxor. At the background is the Temple of Luxor. And we had this magnificent event, thanks to Naveen. I have to give her all the credit for this event. We had the End Polio sign, End Polio Now sign shown in English and in Arabic on the Luxor Temple. And that was one of the highlights of that year in particular. One of the nice things that the Rotary Club of Alexandria Faros.
Yeah.
Club, thanks to Dr. Jacqueline, yes. The Rotary Club of Alexandria Faros has been doing this for several years now. They've been putting billboards on main roads in Alexandria during the week of the 24th of October. So this is one of them a few years ago. This is another one in Arabic and in English, and Polio Now, La li Shalal al-Atfal, in both languages. And I know that this year they had a similar billboard, but unfortunately I don't have a picture of it. So maybe I will take one from you, Dr. Jacqueline, to be able to use it in my presentations later on.
Thank you.
So this is a very nice way of observing polio days, and at the same time, it gives a very, very good Rotary image to the community. One of the things that I like very much, this was not implemented in Egypt, but I just wanted to share it with you. A chain of pizza places in the United States, they decided to give all their proceeds of selling pizza on October 24th to the polio fund. And they've been doing this for several years now. Another maybe similar example, a concert, a movie night. One of the Rotary clubs in, I think, the United States, they decided to make a movie night and give all the proceeds of the tickets to the polio fund. These are some pictures of local events here in Egypt with the End Polio sign. We have so many pictures from different parts of the country, but I just shared with you a couple of them. This is, of course, our dear friend, Rotary International President-elect, Jennifer Jones on the left side, and our Rotary International General Secretary and CEO, John Huku, and his wife, Margaret. Every year they go on biking for the sake of fundraising or raising funds for the polio. This is another one. This is a recent one, maybe a couple of weeks ago from Sri Lanka, and they put the End Polio Now sign on one of those hop on, hop off buses. It's very nice. Again, it creates awareness about what we do, and it gives a very good image, Rotary image. This is from Australia, of course. One of the districts in Australia, a group of clubs, they have their, koala bears dressed in End Polio Now t-shirts, and they sell these koala bears, and the proceeds of this goes to the polio fund. I'm just sharing with you some examples from here and there, because we need to be creative. I'm sure we can create more ideas, but I'm just sharing with you some of them. This is again one of the Rotary clubs somewhere putting an ad. Do you know that a Snicker bar costs more than a polio vaccine? Which is true. I mean, so this is Kick Polio Out of Africa was a kind of a celebration that took place some years ago to celebrate the fact that Africa became polio-free. And we had this event at the Biblioteca Alexandrina, the famous Library of Alexandria. This is our past district governor, Asim Abdurrezi, and we invited all the expatriates and the what do you call them? The counselors and people from different countries here in Egypt. They attended this celebration. This was the governor of Alexandria back then, and this is the of course, this is Dr. Ahmus, the late Dr. Ahmus Gabriel, and Dr. Ahmus was the national polio coordinator. Unfortunately, he passed away last March, suffering from side effects of COVID, unfortunately. This is the famous actor, Hani Salama, the governor of Alexandria. And this is one of the famous football players in Egypt. And here, the governor of Alexandria and the actor, Hani Salama, they signed a football. And then the football player, Islam Shatter, I think his name was Islam Shatter, he kicked the ball out of the Biblioteca Alexandrina, out to the Mediterranean Sea as a symbol. It was just a symbol that we are kicking polio out of the whole continent of Africa. So this was a big event, and one of the nice things that we did here in Egypt. This is just some different ways of observing the End Polio or the polio days here in Egypt. This is one of the recent photos from Hurgada, and these are our friends and colleagues, members of the Rotary Club of Red Sea El Gona, and a famous writer, a famous Egyptian writer, Fatma Naoud. She's very famous. She celebrated, or she observed, the polio day with local Rotarians in El Gona. This is another photo. This was like probably 3 weeks ago or something like that. And now the famous picture that I'm sure you will, I mean, I appreciate this picture very, very much. The Rotary Club of Red Sea Hurgada, even before being chartered, you did a wonderful job I mean, this is something genuine. I've never seen something like this, celebrating end polio now under the sea. So thank you to all members of the Rotary Club of Hurgada. Thank you so much. I'm not going to talk about peace centers. Trustee Geeta already talked about them. I just wanted to show you the symbol of peace. This is the original symbol of peace, the peace dog. This is the original one. And this was painted by the famous Spanish Pablo Picasso. And then later, this was painted in 1949. And then later on, it became the symbol of peace all over the world. Trustee Geeta mentioned that there are 7 centers, peace centers, that the Rotary Foundation has is working in collaboration with them for peace studies. And one of them is at Duke University in North Carolina. Duke University in North Carolina. There is one in Bradford in the UK, Uppsala University in Sweden, one in Bangkok in Thailand, one in Tokyo, Japan, one in Brisbane, University of Queensland, Brisbane, Australia. And then the most recent one was chartered in Kampala, in Uganda, last year or the year before. But I'm sure we were informed that one of the candidates from Egypt, one of the candidates who applied for a Rotary Peace Fellowship from Egypt got accepted. This is the candidate. This picture was taken during the interview. We were interviewing her via Zoom, and I have to give credit to Mona Al-Hakim, our colleagues. Mona Al-Hakim was the chairperson of the Peace Fellowship Subcommittee, and Rania Al-Banna is the current chairperson this year. So this is some good news for all of us in Egypt. I think I've taken more time than I should have, so I apologize a little bit about the funds and how we give money to the Rotary Foundation and how the money is spent. But maybe just if you can give me just a couple of seconds. I'll share with you 2 slides. I know that some Rotary clubs here in Egypt, they do fundraising, and then after they get the money, they give the money to other NGOs or other charities to do the projects. And if we are talking Rotary, this is not the right way to do it. And I always say that this is not the best practice of how to fundraise and do the projects. Okay, this way they give the money to the charity, to another charity, and this NGO or other charities do the projects and build reputation, good reputation, and then come back to Rotary clubs for more money. Then the Rotary clubs raise money again, and we go into a vicious circle. So, and this is, by the way, this is my own humble opinion. Okay, there's no such. I mean, there's no good, something good and something bad, and there's no right and wrong. But I'm just expressing my own opinion. I think the best way to do it is Rotary clubs should raise money. Rotary clubs should donate money to the Rotary Foundation, and then apply for grants. When we apply for grants, we get more money from the Rotary Foundation in the form of grants. And then we do the projects ourselves. Rotary clubs should be doing the projects themselves, okay? And then if we do the projects ourselves, we build good reputation, and then we raise money again, we donate money to the Rotary Foundation, and so on and so forth. I think this is the best way to do it. And I highly recommend that we go through this path rather than just collecting money or fundraising and then give the money to other NGOs to do the job. Thank you so much, and I'm very sorry if I have exceeded my time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I think we can stay for the whole night listening to you and to Geeta, and definitely we want, I mean, a Rotary meeting is not enough. Maybe we will need more time where we say that, as you said at the beginning, it's just talking with each other because there is a lot, but unfortunately we are strained with time. But definitely there are other times when once we finish all these official introductions and we have the club working, we are going to make use of Zoom, where we can have actually real talks where everybody is having the chance to keep asking and answering and sharing their own experiences, because definitely each one has his or her own experience once they are preparing for a project. And actually, commenting on the last one, I do believe that yes, the bad practice, as you said, it's better that one of the good things I always say when we start talking about when we get money from sponsors and donations, the difference between Rotary and any charity organization is that if you donate $100, the whole $100 are spent on the project, because as Rotarians we serve. So we do not take any administration fees. We do not deduct any administration fees as a Rotary club at the level of the Rotary club. So whatever is collected, it's spent 100%, because we have another account, parallel account for all the administration process where we collect the fees, whether the local fees or the fees for the Rotary International, the dues. So I think it's, yes, you are right. And maybe that's why the type of projects is needed. And each country has its own type of area of focus that they need to focus on. And sometimes we do not work on the whole 7 areas. One sometimes is more important than the other. So this is key. You're right. Okay, so I thank you both. And I thank you for your time. It's valuable time for both of you and for everyone who is attending. Now I'm going to turn this over to Sylvie, who will be working on the Q&A. And don't forget the first, I put down the first 2 questions, Sylvie, if you don't mind. So we have around 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes for the Q&A part. Thank you, Sylvie. It's to you now.
Thank you, Naveen. Yes, Naveen, you're right. The time is going very fast. And it's like only past half an hour, you know. I still want to continue and to listen to the presentation. But unfortunately, time is limited. Anyway, thank you, PDG Geeta and PDG Saada, again, for the great informative presentation, like usual. Anybody has questions? If so, can you please raise your hand? I think nobody has questions. No? So if nobody has questions, maybe we can continue 10 more minutes.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, Lily.
Yes, it's for PDG Geeta. I just want to ask, coming from probably the same background of countries where we have continuous challenges and hardship, how do you see the similarities between our district and your district? And what are the tips or advices that you can give it to us so we can, you know, with the approach to projects and grants where we can avoid certain challenges that might not materialize our projects, for example, or might face an issue when you go up with your projects. Thank you, Geeta.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very good question. And you're right. Our background, is very similar in terms of where we come from. We have a lot of needs, and we really all are very passionate in Africa and in in Kenya and in Egypt as to what we want to do for our communities. You will find that you want to do a lot of water projects. We do a lot of water projects. You will find that you want to do educational projects and empowering of women, environment and all that, protecting the environment. We do all similar projects. Although I must emphasize that water projects are the highest and disease prevention are the next, and then others follow. And there is nothing, it's about the need that you see in the community. But the biggest challenge I find that in my part of the world especially is that our reporting is very weak. When you borrow money from a bank, or there are conditions you have to meet. And in my part of the world, I find that we don't report on time, and we don't report as often as we should. And that is really worrying, because you won't get, if one club defaults, then the entire district really suffers. The other thing is that we contribute something like maximum of $500,000 to the Rotary Foundation in my district every year, give or take, and we bring in from the Rotary Foundation close to $10 million. And I believe that Egypt does similar numbers. And you are one country, one district, because of the numbers of members that you have. In my part of the world, we have at the moment 4 countries. When I was governor, we had 6, but now we have 4 countries: Ethiopia, Eritrea, South Sudan, and Kenya. So Ethiopia at the moment is having political challenges. Eritrea has had political challenges for a long time. South Sudan is a new country, again with challenges. So Kenya ends up giving more money and also getting more money. But we have to oversee. So the challenges are similar. And our weakness is reporting, whereas your strength is your numbers, and your reporting is very good, better than ours. And there is nothing to stop us working with each other. We can do grants on our continent with districts, so we must do that. If I may continue to answer the question that Nevin had asked earlier, if you allow me, is what is the next global project after polio? And Rotary Foundation and Rotary International together have seen that we've worked on polio for 35 years, and it has taken us this long to get to 99.9% elimination of polio. And we're seeing the finish line. And when you're running a marathon, the hardest part where you use your most energy is that little bit where you see the finish line and you get to it. And we are at that stage. We are seeing the finish line is very close. As I said earlier, we've only 4 cases this year. 4 cases are too many. Till we eliminate polio, we feel that we should not talk about any other global project, because the doors are open for us to do any other project. And one of them is the program of scale, which is a $2 million grant that is awarded each year. This started from last year. So the first grant that was awarded, a program of scale, was awarded to malaria partners in Zambia, again on our continent. Working with Gates Foundation and malaria partners and the government, each giving $2 million each, we are now having value of $6 million to eliminate malaria in Zambia. So as much as we don't have a global project, we are working in the direction of a global project through the programs of scale. Now, although at the moment only one grant of $2 million will be awarded, but the type of applications that we get are amazing. It's a very lengthy process. It takes 6 to 8 months to apply for this, but the kind of money that one gets back is enormous. Hence, we are very cautious of how the money is awarded. So it is like writing a university thesis, really, but you can get help. The grant has to be evidence-based. It has to be locally relevant, like Zambia, malaria, very, very critical. It has to be sustainable, and it has to be something that can be advanced, something that can be grown. So if you're doing it in one area of Zambia, can you make it bigger that it can, gets the benefit of covering the whole country? The other aspect is because we're using public funding, meaning money that belongs to Rotarians and our partners, we're very strong on monitoring, evaluation, and the requirement of collaboration is very important because you need expertise. We Rotarians are experts in our field, but we're not expert in every field. So whichever field that, whichever focus area that the program of scale grant is awarded, you need expertise to work with them. And then of course, we need to leverage on the partnership, but also the strength that Rotary has. So I hope that Navin and I managed to answer both your questions in that, but I'm still happy to, go further if required. I want to keep it simple so that everybody understands it. I know it might be repetition for some of you, but it's a long process. It's a year-long process, but we've got the grants that have been applied for in the area of education or water or malaria. Has been amazing. You want to give them all the funding that you can, but of course we have the limitations.
Yeah. So this is given to a district or a club, usually?
It's given to a district.
Okay. Okay.
But let me take that back. Initially it was applied for by the club, but the district has a lot of say over it because it is for, that entire area.
Yeah.
So no one club is in charge. The district is.
I mean, like, for example, I don't know, here in Egypt, we have the district has a bank account and has it's an NGO on its own that is like the syndicate of the Rotary clubs. So is it the same in other when we say the district? So is it the same, for example, in the other areas, or it is just the district as a partner that will be overlooking, but a club with its own account will be running the process?
Yes, I think that is how it is. The club will be running, district will be overseeing, because everything in Rotary happens at the club. So the district has the responsibility to oversee it. And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it is through the club and the district oversees it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Lily, you have another question?
Yes, it's me again.
Yeah.
Yes,
I have
see.
another 2 questions. First, second question is also for PDG Geeta, and then another question to PDG Ahmed, Saada. So my question to PDG Geeta, don't you think the pandemic is also global? Why Rotary didn't put it on the map as well? I mean, I know there is lots of support channeling for COVID, but it didn't reach the stage. Or what are the criteria when you put a pandemic on the map globally? Because it is a global thing.
You're right. It is a global pandemic. It is something that we had never imagined was going to happen. So it is not a part of our usual portfolio. However, when we realized in March of 2020 that this pandemic is all over the world, is affecting everybody, Rotary Foundation swung into action really fast. Rotarians were crying for help. They wanted some sort of funding. So under the disaster relief grant, provisions were made for every district to apply for a grant. So every district in the world equally could apply for a grant of $25,000, which were turned around without much criteria requirements within a week. I cannot remember the numbers of head, but several $1 million were given for the disaster relief grants to every district in the world that applied for it. I know my district applied for it on the dot of midnight before the expiration date, and we got a grant within 5 days. $25,000 were awarded, and we bought PPEs. But at the same time, every club, as Dr. Saada said, could apply for a global grant, and many did, and they have been awarded. So globally, Rotary swung into action, made sure that whoever needed and wanted and applied for got the grant. But that has not been our major criteria. It hasn't been our focal program or project. But our infrastructure that we've built over the years for polio helped us during the pandemic to reduce the effects of the pandemic in many, many parts of the world. So I see that Rotary, did what it could in those times. And even now, you can continue to apply for a global grant in the area of health for the pandemic.
Okay. I think we have Jacqueline having her hand.
Yeah. I have two questions. First of all, thank you so much, PDG Geeta, Manek, and for your informative lecture. Really, I enjoy it. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed Saada, for this amazing lecture. I have one question for PDG Geeta and another one for PDG Ahmed Saada. For PDG Geeta, I love the idea of global grant in terms of inter-country cooperation. But I want to ask you about what are the other methods of fundraising for e-clubs rather than donations? How can we encourage persons to share? This is my first question for PDG Geeta. Another question for Dr. Ahmed Saada. I want to ask him about if there are essential criteria or specific criteria for the chair of TRF committee inside a club.
Okay. Shall I go ahead first? How can e-clubs do fundraising? Basically, is that what you're asking me? And I believe that there's so much more opportunity now than ever before for e-clubs to do fundraising. I know in my district last year when we were all grounded and locked up and we had so much work to do, we did not initially know what to do, and everybody was frozen saying, when are we going to start? And in my country, we have the M-Pesa mobile money platform that everybody has. Anybody who has a mobile phone in Kenya has a mobile money app in there because it's the most convenient way of paying, more convenient than the credit card, more convenient than bank accounts and checkbooks and everything. And I can be sitting here in America and paying my electricity bill in Kenya. That's how easy it is now. So give you an example, we did a concert for fundraising for the Peace Center at Makerere, and it was open worldwide. And everybody contributed in whichever way was convenient to them. But most of the Kenyans, contributed 20 shillings, 50 shillings, which is 20 US cents, 50 US cents, $5 US, something like that. And we collected millions of shillings. on the global stage, we collected a fair amount, close to 250,000 US dollars through virtual money, put it that way. I don't know what's the right terminology, but so fun activities, promoted in advance through social media. When you plan that, you have to make sure that the money is accountable. It is going to where it's supposed to. It does not go to Geeta Manek's personal mobile account. It should go to the Rotary district account or somewhere where there is a treasurer who's accountable for everything. So that is the only risk I would see, that if it goes to a personal account, which is not allowed anyway under Rotary standards, but eClub tends to work in easier ways. But I think there is a lot of work to be done in the area of fundraising, e-fundraising, put it that way. But there's so many ways of doing that. So concerts, quiz nights, debating competitions, all sorts of things are happening, and they're happening. If you remember, Jennifer Jones had 2 events last year, and both were collecting a huge amount of money through virtual fundraising. So for e-clubs, I believe it's easier and you get more money than we people on the ground.
Yeah, really? Thank you.
No, I guess it's my turn.
Okay.
My turn to answer the question. Okay, Dr. Jacqueline, let me repeat the question, please, just to make sure that I got it right. Your question was about the criteria of choosing the Rotary Foundation chairperson at the club level. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, there are no criteria, but I would highly recommend 2 things. Number 1, to work as a member on the committee, the TRF committee, before becoming the chairperson of the committee. Work with the committee chair for 1 or 2 years at least, just to get to know more about the Rotary Foundation, and then a Rotarian can become a chairperson. The other thing is that whoever wants to be, or whoever is interested in becoming the chairperson of the committee, I think it's very, 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 very important to take the online course. There are so many online courses in the Learning Center. They cover all aspects of Rotary. And yeah, there are some of these online courses are directly related to the Rotary Foundation. So I think this is very important step to do or to take before acquiring the post of chairperson of the Rotary Foundation.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think, PDG Saada, that Lily still has a question, no? For you, Lily?
Yes, I do. My question is, you got us excited about the seminar, the TRF seminar, and we don't know when and where. And we all are waiting to the announcement, for the announcement.
Well, actually, our Rotary Foundation seminar was supposed to be held on the 27th of this month.
Oh.
But as you all know, our district governor is having some family problems. So he requested that we postpone the seminar. So until this very minute, we are not sure when it will be held, but we will make an announcement very soon, hopefully. But maybe meanwhile, I suggest, Naveen, maybe we can do a workshop, if you would like, on 2 main things. The different ways of giving to the Rotary Foundation.
Yes.
Okay, because there are so many ways of giving to the Rotary Foundation. And the other part will be a hands-on workshop on how to apply for a grant. Okay, step by step. Because applying for a global grant is now done online. Okay, not paperwork like we used to do many years ago. So we can do that in a form of a hands-on workshop and go through the process step by step, just to show you how to apply for a global grant.
Actually,
okay? just
very good idea.
Yes, this is a fantastic thing, because this is actually one of the sessions that we are going to have as well. But later on, as we go ahead with the sessions, one of the 8 sessions actually is how to put together, and we will go through the website of the Rotary and how to apply for a grant in writing, even to see how it goes, and the different means of fundraising. Actually, the club is doing a fantastic activity, but innovative ways of fundraising that would be sustainable. This is actually, if we can call it, sustainable fundraising. And one of the things I always say is we were having a membership workshop a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things that we always forget and neglect is our emails. I mean, if we just send the newsletter of the club newsletter with the projects that we do and what we are doing to all our friends, it's not that we are not actually asking for money, but this is one of the ways actually when we send an email to all our mailing list about our, these are our friends, our personal email, where we can put together what we are doing and what we are going to do. So this is also one means of fundraising. And maybe another thing also is the reporting, not only how to put together the proposal, but how to report. Because as we said, we all do beautiful projects, but we come out when we look for how, if we want to put a press release, if we want to go back to what we did, we always lack putting together the report about the projects that we did, and also reporting to the Rotary Foundation. I mean,
Right.
this is one of the challenges.
Yeah, proper documentation.
Yes, proper documentation. As Trustee Geeta said, this is a challenge. And I know that our district once was stopped from applying to the Rotary Foundation because one of the clubs actually did not do the proper documents.
In 2007, I remember.
Yes, and we were all excited. We were all wanted to apply for grants, and we couldn't. So it's our role to ensure that everyone knows how to do it, because this is actually the proper example of teamwork. If we do not all teach each other and we learn from each other, we are all going to be affected.
And this is what we do during the grant management seminar.
Yeah.
I mean, the grant management seminar is to make sure that everyone knows how to do a proper reporting, how to keep proper documentations and things like that.
Yeah.
And if I may add one more thing, it's an announcement. We are planning to have a project fair in February, on the 24th and 25th of February. So if you are interested in applying for a global grant, then think of a good project and come to us with this project. Maybe you can get a match or get an international partner during the project fair.
Okay. So the club should be, I mean, we are going to apply the papers for the club in early January, maybe so that after the holidays, is the club eligible to apply for a global grant, and they are only a couple of months chartered?
Well, they should attend the grant management seminar and sign an MOU, a memorandum of understanding. We agreed at the beginning of the year, or maybe before this year started, that we will request that each club should take the online courses related to the grants.
They have taken all the courses. This is something that I know of. And well, I know that once they need to be chartered, because I know that the grant management seminar is and the learning center is like certification. So it's exactly. Like it goes, it can be expired. It is expired actually a year later. And if you not continue it, you cannot even continue when the time passes.
Right. That's why the qualification process is done every year, whether at the district level or the club level. We we have to qualify or do the qualification process on a yearly basis.
So maybe the
So-
project can be written this year, and maybe they can identify someone they can the club can work with, but the application can be next Rotary year.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. I just I wanted to make another announcement,
Okay.
if I may. It's just a reminder that the Rotary International Convention will take place this year. It will take place in Houston. Okay, it will be from the 4th to the 8th of June. I know Naveen is going.
Yeah.
But I would like very much for the Rotary Club, members of the Rotary Club of Hurgada, to be in Houston this coming June, hopefully. I hope it won't be virtual this time. Trustee Geeta is in charge of the promotion in the whole zone. So I hope we can have a good number of participants from Egypt, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. Yes, and I know that the American Embassy started the visa process again.
They started, but they are giving appointments very, very late. So if you apply today, you can get an appointment in 3 or 4 months. I don't know why they have I don't know, maybe they have a queue, or I don't know.
I think one of the things that we will try to do is we'll try to have everyone, and maybe through the American Chamber, we can do something.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So back to you, Sylvie.
I think there are no more questions. I don't see any hands anymore.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question, Naveen?
Yes.
You were talking in the beginning about package grants. What does it mean?
Okay. The package grants are ready-made grants. And one of them that actually our district benefited a lot from it. We had 8 students who went for a master's degree in Delft. And usually the Rotary Foundation, I remember they had 2 package grants. Trustee Geeta and Ahmed can correct me. One was for, I think, nurses. And the other one was with the USAID. And this one was with the Rotary Foundation and Delft. And it was in water management and water and sanitation. And we were through the University to Work program, which is a program that the vocational district and the district vocational and it for engineers only. They were able actually to identify, we had 8 who benefited from this program. So the clubs in the district will not be paying, but their role would be to identify and actually have it's like the peace fellowship, and then so it's all paid by the Rotary Foundation. It's covered by the Rotary Foundation, and it was a year and a half. And they had to, also the reporting and everything was done. So that was something that actually was very good, whether it was with the USAID or with the Delft or whatever. And I think this is a good one. It's still going on with the German club. There is a club in Germany that is still taking over. So all that it costs is $10,000 to actually have a master's degree in Delft. So this is still good, but I mean, I don't know why the package grants were disconnected. I don't know. Maybe Trustee Geeta can answer this.
Quite honestly, I feel that they were not effective in terms of the broad spectrum of how many clubs applied for and how far it reached. My district had a grant for educating and elevating the training of nurses from one level to another, and we did really well. We were focused in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania through the university. And I know the water partnership that you have with the university in Delft, but on the whole, and there was Mercy ships that docked in West Africa and I can't remember, somewhere in the Far East. But it just didn't seem to reach the number of Rotarians it was targeted for, and there wasn't sufficient interest for it to be a program of the foundation. But again, through the global grants, the foundation, whatever passion the Rotarians have in whichever area, rather than have a package grant which is full of conditions, this makes it easier, because then you are designing and constructing your own grant the way you want it in the specific need. With that package was like, take it or leave it. This is what we are offering. With a grant, you know, you can design it the way you want to.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think now we can, I would like to thank you again, everyone, for your time and for being there. And very soon we are going to have this session on YouTube so that everyone can listen to it and see it and enjoy it. Of course, not like having it live with all the Q&A opportunities. And now we will leave it to our district governor representative and charter president, Nada, to close the meeting.
Thank you very much, really. Thank you very much for everybody. Our PTG Geeta, our PTG Ahmed, our district membership committee chair, Naveen, Lily, Sylvie. Thank you very much for all members attend and all our guests too, of course. Thank you very much too for the family name Wilson, I'm sorry. Jacqueline too. Thank you very much for her. Okay, and see you soon. Huh? See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And see you soon in the coming meeting. Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
See you next week. Bye.
Thank you.